Once upon a time, there was a king who ruled a kingdom. All the people loved him because he was fair and cared about everyone. The king had a minister who was very wise and always knew how to solve problems. The minister gave good advice to the king. He always thought about what was best for the kingdom and its people. With the minister's help, the king kept the kingdom peaceful and safe for everyone. One day, the king sat in his court, ready to hear cases. That day, two identical twin brothers were brought in. The royal guards looked confused. A guard said,
"Your Majesty, we have a problem. One brother is innocent, but the other is a thief. We can't tell who the thief is."
The king frowned and replied,
"This is indeed a puzzling situation. We must find a way to discover the truth."
The wise minister stepped forward.
"Your Majesty, I have an idea. Let's ask both brothers to show what they have in their pockets."
The innocent brother looked nervous and said,
"But I only have a piece of bread. I was saving it for later."
The thief sneered.
"I have nothing to hide. You can check me."
The minister nodded and said,
"All right. Let's see."
The innocent brother pulled out his piece of bread.
"See? Just my lunch,"
he said. When it was the thief's turn, he hesitated and tried to hide a shiny stolen item behind his back. The minister pointed at the shiny object and exclaimed,
"Aha! This is the sign of guilt. You are the thief."
The king smiled and said,
"Well done, Minister. You have solved the mystery."
The innocent brother sighed in relief.
"Thank you, Your Majesty."
The thief said,
"You will pay for this."
but the guards took him away. The king turned to the minister and said,
"Your wisdom has saved an innocent man once again."
The minister was world famous. His tales of intelligence had spread far and wide. The king of a neighboring kingdom also heard about him. He wanted to test the minister's intelligence. One day, a messenger arrived at the court from the neighboring kingdom. He stood in the court and cleared his throat. The king leaned forward to hear what the messenger had to say.
"Your Majesty,"
the messenger said, bowing respectfully,
"I bring a letter from the king of the neighboring kingdom."
The king nodded.
Please. Read it aloud.
With a respectful gesture, the messenger opened the letter and began to read.
Respected King, I admire your minister's wisdom and would like to invite him to visit our kingdom.
The king smiled and turned to the minister.
What do you think? Should you accept this invitation?
The minister replied,
I would be honored, Your Majesty.
The minister accepted the invitation, and after traveling for a week, the messenger and the minister reached the neighboring kingdom. The minister was warmly welcomed by the commander-in-chief.
Welcome. We are pleased to have you here.
The commander said with a big smile. He led the minister to the royal guest house, a beautiful place with lovely decorations and comfortable rooms. As they walked through the halls, the commander pointed out various artworks and wall hangings. Finally, he opened the door to the minister's room.
Here is your room.
He said,
I hope you will enjoy your stay and feel at home.
Thank you very much.
The minister replied. As the minister sat in his room, some royal servants came in with a tray of food and served it on the table. They had brought fresh bread, sweet fruits, and tasty snacks.
Sir, your meal is served.
One of the servants said, smiling. The minister looked at the colorful treats and felt happy. He sat at the small table and took a bite of the warm bread, enjoying how soft it was. He also tasted the sweet fruits, feeling refreshed after his long journey. The minister, then, took some rest as he was feeling very tired after such a long journey. In the evening, a royal servant took the minister to the court. As soon as he entered the court, he saw a strange scene. In the court, 4 identical men were sitting on 4 identical thrones. All 4 men looked so much alike that it was very difficult for anyone to guess who was the real king. The minister, such an intelligent person, also got confused. He had never met the king of the neighboring kingdom. He couldn't understand whom to greet. He got thoughtful. Suddenly, an idea struck his mind. He didn't utter a single word and stood still. He just kept looking at all 4 men minutely. The real king of the neighboring kingdom was waiting impatiently for the minister to say something. After about 5 minutes, the minister went to one of those men and said,
Your Majesty, Greetings to you. I have come from a far-off place to meet you. I have brought a message of goodwill and friendship from our king. I know that you are the real king.
The man stood up from his seat and said,
Welcome. It is my pleasure to meet you. I had heard a lot about your presence of mind and intelligence. Today, I saw it with my own eyes. You are indeed very clever and intelligent. But tell me, how did you identify me as the real king? We never met before. Even then, you succeeded in recognizing me.
The minister smiled and said,
Your Majesty, I observed all four of you. The other three men were perplexed. They were thinking what to do. They looked at you quite frequently. They wanted to know how you would react, so that they could imitate you. But you, the real king, had no hesitation. You kept looking straight at me.
The king was very impressed by the minister's intelligence. He embraced the minister and said,
You truly are the best. I admire your intelligence.
The minister stayed there for about a week. At the time of departure, the king gave many gifts to the minister. Moral: Be smart and pay attention to details. It helps you make good decisions.